Hello class, and for my final analysis project I will select a topic that everyone is probably already familiar with, or at least has heard of or about to some degree. My final analysis project is based on an issue that we are all aware of by now and has gained mass media attention not only in the state of New Jersey but throughout the nation. This issue is the marijuana policies within the state of New Jersey. Currently, there are 23 states within the nation that allow medical marijuana use, and 4 states that include recreational usage also. The problem that New Jersey is facing is a twofold issue. One, the extreme criminalization of those who possess small amounts of marijuana. And 2, strict regulations on those who can actually obtain the medicinal marijuana license. The extreme criminalization of those who are in possession of small amounts of marijuana has led to a waste in taxpayers' money and high incarceration rates. All of this for something that does less damage to a person's body and mind than alcohol. For those who seek to gain or obtain a medicinal marijuana license, the process is so strictly regulated that unless you are practically dying or in extreme pain, it prevents those who may actually need it for themselves or their children in receiving a license. Throughout the years of everyone's life, we have all seen how these drugs created in pharmaceutical companies have become more and more dangerous to use due to the growing number of side effects that are produced from taking the medicine. Here, we have an all-natural substance that produces many medical benefits and minimal side effects as long as it's not abused. Through the course of this analysis project, we will review the problem as previously stated within the state of New Jersey, Bardach's 8-fold path to policy analysis and creation, the policies that are already in place, policy alternatives, best practices, and policies in place within other states, and a solution. Bardach's 8-fold path serves as a guide in helping one gain a sense of direction when it comes to the act of policy analysis. This analytic process not only helps to clearly define the issue at hand, but it also pushes the process toward the directed outcome or final solution. Bardach's 8-fold path is as follows. Step 1. Defining the problem. As we discussed earlier in the semester, definition of the problem is a crucial step, and it gives you both the reason for doing all the work, but also a sense of direction while gathering all of the evidence needed. So, the problem or issue at hand, as stated earlier, is a twofold issue. 1. The extreme criminalization of those who possess small amounts of marijuana, and 2. Strict regulations on those who can obtain a medicinal marijuana license. Step 2. Assemble some evidence. Bardach states that most of your time will be doing policy analysis is spent on 2 activities: thinking and hustling data that can be turned into evidence. During my period of research, I found newspaper articles, scientific case studies, statutes, laws, polls, and other resources. These pieces of research are based on situations within the state of New Jersey, Colorado, California, and other states that have been dealing with the same issue. Step 3. Construct the alternatives. Bardock discusses alternatives in terms of policy options or alternative courses of actions / strategies to solve the problem at hand. Since there are already policies and laws in place within the state of New Jersey dealing with the problems / issues presented, alternatives or amendments to what is in place will be needed. This will not only help benefit the citizens, but the state as well. I'm not asking to completely create a new policy, but simply amend what is already in place. Step 4. Select the criteria. Selecting the criteria is another very important step within the Eightfold Path. This helps to introduce values and philosophies into the policy analysis. Bardock states that some possible criteria are evaluate standards used to judge the goodness of the projected policy outcomes that are associated with each of the alternatives. For the analysis of New Jersey's marijuana policies, we will see how the decriminalization of possessing small amounts of marijuana and lowering the strict regulation for those who seek to gain a medicinal marijuana license will solve the issue at hand. Step 5. Projected outcomes. During this step, Bardock wants us to project the outcomes / impact of the alternatives listed. This is one of the more difficult steps within the path, namely because of the human psychological differences. First, constructing and creating policies or changes affect the future and not the past or present. Second, we have to assess the realism of the outcomes. Generally, we as human beings prefer the optimistic approach rather than understanding policy changes can affect people's lives in a positive or negative way. The third issue we face when projecting outcomes is what Bardock calls the 51-49 principle. People are generally driven out of self-defense and treat 51% confidence in our projection as though it deserved 100% confidence, and we not only mislead others but ourselves. Some of the projected outcomes to solving this issue would be more money in tax revenue, job creation, lower crime, lower incarceration rates, and better quality of life for those who can obtain a medicinal license. Yet and still, with more people being able to obtain a license, more dispensaries would have to open. Possible robberies against these places may increase until a security program is put in place. Step 6. Confront the trade-offs. It is possible that one of the policy alternatives is expected to produce a better outcome than the others. Generally, this does not happen. Bardock shows us that you must clarify the trade-offs between the outcomes associated with different policy options. Possible trade-offs for decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana could be a higher ticket cost if an officer finds it on your person. Another possible trade-off for those who seek to obtain medical marijuana license is a higher license fee or a fee to renew your license each year. All outcomes help to generate more revenue for the state of New Jersey. Step 7. Decide. At this point, even though you may not be the decision maker, you may need to imagine yourself in their shoes and, with the presented evidence, make an appropriate decision. If the evidence is unclear or your decision is unclear, then you may need to reevaluate the evidence that you presented or one of the steps within the process. The evidence that I will present should persuade a policymaker to move forward with the decision and possibly add in one or more of the trade-offs. Step 8. Tell your story. This is the last and final step. Bardock suggests that we tell our story to an audience, whether it be the client, whether it be to the public, anybody that needs to hear it should hear it. In conclusion, by reviewing each of the steps during the course of the policy analysis, I will 1. Clearly define the problem, 2. Assess the state of evidence in the field of practice, 3. Summarize evidence regarding the problem in key policy alternatives, 4. Evaluate existing practices in place elsewhere in light of your government or organization's unique context, and 5. Provide a recommended evidence-based policy solution to your organization's policy-making body. Well, there you have it, all laid out. Now it's time to make that 15-page paper, and hopefully one day these policy alternatives and solutions can come into play as time goes on. I think as of now they are actually considering to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of marijuana and also change the strict regulations of people who are looking to obtain a medicinal marijuana license. So, my name is Maurice Davis, as you already know, and I am signing off.